I welcome you all for today's session. Today we have with us Mr. Shashidhar, Global Head, Process and Quality L&T Technology Services. He is going to present keynote address on the power of strategic collaboration transforming academia strengths for industry opportunities. On behalf of JSS Science and Technology University, once again we welcome you, sir. Also, we have session chair Dr. Nagendra Prasad from Biotechnology Department. Welcome, sir. We have with us session co-chair Dr. Anita M. Prasad from Electronics and Communication Department. Welcome, sir. Now I request Dr. Nagendra Prasad to introduce our guest of honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and student friends, I extend my heartfelt greetings for each one of you. Before I begin, let us express our profound reverence to the divine, bowing at the lotus feet of His Holiness Swamiji, and seeking His divine blessings for the success of today's momentous event. It's my distinct honor to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker for today, Mr. Shashidhar Dongre, the Global Head of Process and Quality at L&T Technology Services. Mr. Dongre holds a bachelor's degree in electronics and communication from the University of Mysore. His illustrious career began at L&T in the same year, and since then he has played pivotal roles in various capacities, providing turnkey solutions to operators in both GSM and CDMA. Mr. Shashidhar Dongre is at the forefront of L&T Technology Services Digital Engineering Strategy Division. With a tenure exceeding 25 years, he has spearheaded initiatives across various technology domains, making substantial contributions to the telecom, datacom, and media segments. His expertise extends to engineering IoT platforms, medical applications, and other verticals. Today, Mr. Dongre will share his insights in a keynote address on the topic The Power of Strategic Collaboration Transforming Academic Strengths for Industry Opportunities. This choice of theme is particularly timely for a technical university, emphasizing the impactful synergy between academia and industry. We are indeed fortunate to have him here for offering words of wisdom derived from extensive 25 years of industry experience. While we understand the importance of strategic collaboration between industry and academia, many questions do linger. How can we effectively capitalize on industrial opportunities? What specific strategies should be employed to transform academic strengths into tangible opportunities within the industries and many more? These questions can only be decoded by someone with an intimate understanding of both industry needs and academic strengths, and no better than our keynote speaker, Mr. Shashidhar Dongre. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Dongre, thanking him for accepting to deliver the keynote address and setting the stage for this industry academic conference. I encourage all participants to make the most of this invaluable opportunity. Without further ado, I now hand over the stage to Mr. Shashidhar Dongre. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning once again. So I'm going to be here for a few more minutes, sharing my thoughts. This title is a little long, right? But hope I will do some justice to that. I will share my general thoughts. Right, I'm sure all of you have come from this background for a long time. So many of the thoughts you may see repetition. Oh, we know this for a long time, etc. It's possible, right? So please take it with a pinchful of salt, and then we will see where it goes. Right. So at the end of it, we will invite you for questions, right? And then I'm sure I will take something bit, as well. We can see, in my opinion, in my eyes, right? We can see the collaboration in these buckets, if I may. Right? Of course, recruitment I have intentionally left out because that is anyway gets addressed right by all of you. So I intentionally and can see what we can do together, what is being done right today across the world, and what can we can do together. Right? Uh, uh, and also, you will find a strange looking word called TechGM. This is our company's efforts to kind of foster collaboration amongst education institutions. I will cover a little more of that because we have done it for the last 7 years, and then there is a bit of a learning. right, in that, and then I will cover more. One of the this one is that I come from a product development background, right, and the products which are embedded, not embedded, software, and all of that. So hence, a lot of my examples, and then this one would be from that world. Bear with me, right? So that's how I would request. One of the things about research and product development is that whenever you develop any product, uh, the product itself will have a core idea, right, which you need to implement. But in order to create the product to the final consumer or final user, you have to build a lot of context around, right? For example, even this projector, if you take, right, the core is that I need a LED lamp and I need some, pixels to move around as I move this. Right? That's all is needed. That's the core idea. But with that, I can't use it. I can't sell it to the world. You need a dabba in between. You need a power supply in between. You need a good-looking color for that. Otherwise, nobody will your project. Etc. etc. Right? Now, the intention of my putting that two circles there is that in any product, the key idea, right, which you call it core, right, will be small, right? But unless you build the extension top of it, you can't sell the product. Right? So hence, an engineering and development kind of a world need to look at not only the core idea but also the thing around it, and that's where the opportunity comes up for research and product. Now, of course, as researchers and then people who are looking at in the future, I will be fascinated. I will be intellectually challenged to look at the blue dot there, research and development. I want to do that, right? But then the opportunities are also there elsewhere as well, right? So I want you all to start thinking about it, key on it, and then say what are the opportunities in a real product? Because those opportunities are there with the industry, and then you can come along. Right? So that keep that as a key idea with you. Now, when you say core research, what it could mean? It could mean a molecule, for example, if you are in the pharma world, it could be a new molecule which can be converted to a tablet ready tomorrow, for example. Or it could be a vaccine, a small whale, right? It could be that. Or it could be an algorithm, right? We have been talking about AI for a long time. It could be a new algorithm, right? New algorithm need not be new algorithm. It could be a new variation of the algorithm which takes much lesser processing power to do the same activity. So algorithm doesn't mean that only brand new looking at life. Brand new algorithm which improves your performance is also a new algorithm, right? Or it could be some new material. I will share with you some new things. I mean, new material. For example, if it cleans glasses right very quickly compared to what we do today, that is also core R&D. You can engage in some of these things. Again, my examples would not be only software; it would be all branches of engineering. But I heard that all of you are mostly from circuit branches, right? But bear with me, right? The examples which I give you will be non-circuit as well. Right? And one of the things with the circuit branches need to kind of appreciate is that there is a lot of engineering which is done in the non-circuit branches, and they are also equally valid and important, right, for our lives, not only software. I mean, this is something which all of us in circuit. I am myself from circuit, mind you, right? Having come from that, I can say with fair amount of confidence, there is a lot of wonderful things. They're engineering, wonderful things. They're in non-circuit areas as well. Now, how can we engage there? In these, if you want to engage, one of the things about availability of data with the industry, right? As I see, for example, you have a lot of PhD theses. Or the PhD theses, PhD people come and present to us. Only if they present, we get to know that something is happening. Right? Otherwise, there is no way to get to know. Right? So hence, we need to create probably opportunities where PhD thesis, for example, could be one area. And I'm sure after PhD, you would be looking at postdoctoral kind of work, right? Within each academic institution, you will do postdoc. Now, is that available as a theme, right, to industry, right? Now, if that is available to us as a theme, then we can start looking, okay, this person is doing this activity, can we engage with them? Finally, all these collaborations, especially in all these, finally comes down to a particular faculty doing some activity. Finally, it has to come down to that, right? Beyond all the ceremonies which I spoke about, finally it has to come down to that. So, in progress in the research field, that core, that blue area, we need a lot more exchanges between saying that what is happening in the latest and the greatest in the academic world. I know for sure that within the JC there are a lot of interesting PhDs are done, right? Recently, I was fortunate to attend a PhD presentation. Right? Now, But I was wondering, saying that is it available for rest of the people, right? Because there are no avenues which are done. I'm not only talking about JC, I'm also talking about other students as well, right? So that's one probable process which you can think. The other thing is applied research, and this is where I think a lot of opportunities are available. It's only a question of how we engage with. Mind you, I come from a product outsourcing organization. Right? We create products for most of the world. Our business comes from 99% comes from global majors, right? Who are aware all the way from Intel to Qualcomm to Samsung to BMW, etc. They're all our customers. So hence we design products for them. So hence, whenever we design products, right, we work on both ends of core, but also the context, right? When we work, the 25,000 odd people who work with us, all of them work in that yellow area, which is called context, because core is important to our customers as well. It will not part with their family silver, right? So they keep with the family silver. Mama, I need to do the entire product, they do the context, which is okay for us, right? Because there is a lot of challenges there in doing the context as well. In that context, what we can do together with academics. One of the things I want to kind of remember and then mention the name of Professor Junjunwala. Right, I'm sure some of you are aware. Right, he worked in IIT Chennai and retired recently. But for the last 25 years or 30 years, right, he is very active in creating telecom products within the IIT Connect fold. Right? Now, can we have that kind of a mentality? Mind you, he didn't say, I will create a new algorithm. No, he created a new wireless communication system used in India, for example. So, multiple products have come out. In fact, Tejas Networks, who is one of the panel members here, the seeds of that came from IIT Chennai, seeds of came from IIC Bangalore. Right? So, like this, there is a possibility that we can think like how Junjunwala thought within the IIT premises, kind of replicate that within the academia kind of thing. And for this, you need to take a year view, right? At least a 2 year, 3 year view. Right? Now, in order to take a 2 year, 3 year view, you can't be dependent on the students to think about it. Right? Faculty needs to think about saying that what is the 3 year view, and then come out with ideas and then things like that. So, three areas which kind of are possible for us right now is simulations. Simulations are a thing, and today simulations are a great way to start the product development. The days of actually physical prototyping are gone. Right? A lot of people do simulations because there is a lot of software available. A simple thing is chipset, for example. We do chipset design. No chipset gets implemented today in hardware, right? Before you actually tape out in a foundry, right? Everything is done in software. Now, can academics help in simulations, for example, right? All kinds of simulation, functional simulation, performance simulation, everything. Prototype development, right? I will show you some pictures of how people can do. Prototype development takes a lot of takes a lot of work, right, to be done, right? Integration to be worked on. Tool development, mind you, testing the product is extremely important. You will discover that around 50-60% of the effort and money of any product, right, before it comes out of the thing goes into testing, both design testing as well as manufacturing testing. Now, there are a lot of opportunities there. I don't see many of the academies talking this language because they are probably fixated on the first one, which is core research, right? So there are a lot of opportunities on the other side. If you engage people from the industry, they'll probably tell you more. And the final one is important, especially from the AI side. How many projects I have attended where they show an algorithm, they do random forest algorithm or whatever, they show the accuracy, and then say, Baba, why have you not got the external data set? This data is not right. So they try it out on, let's say, 1,000 rows, 2,000 rows data, and then prove some algorithm. And if actually in a real world it needs millions of data is not right. Now, one of the things which the academics around the world are doing is to create data. In fact, that academics becomes the creation of data, and then maintaining good data is not easy, is not trivial, right? So hence, in multiple areas, there is a possibility to create data. In fact, I will give you one example, right? VIT Vellore have done a wonderful work of creating vibration data, right? In the world of electric motors, anything which moves, 70% of the world's movement is done by electric motors. And with EV, that number will become even more. The problem of motors is not electrical. The problem with motors is vibration. all the motor related issues are connected to vibration, there is enough and more work to be done in the vibration area, for example. But for that, you need data. Who has done the data? They create a small test bed and then create different scenarios of the bearing failure and all the other failures, etc. Create data for failure data. So there is a lot of work which could be done, not only in one area, multiple areas where you can create data and then give it to students, right? For both creation of data as well as to do algorithm on top. Right? And creation of data is not menial job, right? You know, working on algorithms on top obviously is a fancy job, right? The creation of data is not a menial job. So one of the things from a psychological point of view, which all of you are professors here, can push your people to create data and tell them saying that it's not menial, right? It's very easy to say, data creation, I don't want to do because there is no fancy thing there. I can't report something over it. So these are the things which are available for under the research and product development guideline. We can have more discussions on that to take it further. Then we will quickly go to other internship. We quickly go to the next topic. I don't know whether I'm doing okay on time. I'm not, right? I will need about 5 more minutes if you don't mind. So internship for students. Right? And whenever I go to college, sir, I have got two very good students, right? Or two good students, 10 good students, or whatever. Why don't you take them? Is a constant refrain we get, right, from the industry. It is needed also. And today, that kind of a need is driven, I think, in my view, three different things, right? One is NEP directive. There is a new directive saying that everybody should have industry experience of whatever kind, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever kind, right? But there is too high a number of students. The intake of engineering students has catapulted, right, drastically. So there is a huge demand on it. And there is a lack of motivation by faculty to, if I may say so here, create projects and give it to students. Mind you, it's work. It doesn't come easy. Creation of a problem statement and then evaluating is not easy, it's not trivial. So I think there is a bit of a lack of motivation here for the faculty. I want you to take with a bit of a salt, if I may. I know I am in an academic institutions, but this is a problem. So hence, what happens today, that blue thing which you see here, students working in the industry in the garb of industry thing is much higher compared to students working with the professors. But if I look at tier one institutions in India, if I do that, it will right, when I go to your professor and then say I need two students to be industry, he said no, tell me what the problem. I'll solve it. Right? So the questions which are asked by the tier one universities are different. They don't want to part with the best of their students. Right? Now, can we do that here? Can you do that in your lab? Can you do that in your department? Right? The best of students, a good teacher, will not part to the industry. And I'm saying this from the industry. We need them after they pass out, not during their course. So this is what happens in industry. So can we take an objective? This whole blue thing coming closer, right? You can do this only by defining extra problems, right, which are necessary. In fact, one of the faculty members, I think Suresh, told about Amazon problem being solved. Right? We have enough problems. I will show it to you. Right? The industry has enough problems of that nature, but can faculty internalize it and give it to their students? This internalization of problem statements of the world needs to be done by faculty beyond the syllabus. If it can be done, I think we can generate a lot more things and we can strive towards. I think the ideal case is the top, right? And that will also lead to consulting, mind you, right? When you are in your driver's seat, it will also lead to consulting because you are on driver's seat. This is my take on internship for students. Something to think about. That leads us to consulting. Consulting is primarily driven by faculty knowledge. Now, faculty knowledge is by both papers which are published, also by, I must say, tom-tomming about yourself, right? Nobody goes through the papers to read that and then, this Shashidhar is not a good fellow. Shashidhar is a better fellow. Doesn't happen. So you will have to do a little bit of tom-tomming, etc. Go on YouTube, go on to social channels, etc. Talk about your own work. That way, industry gets to know. And of course, passion and motivation should be there beyond teaching for the student. This is a given, right? If you do that, right, then real problems faced by the industry will come to you, right? In fact, multiple problems which are faced by the industry, they don't share with you because we don't see that engagement at an intellectual. Mind you, all of this should come down to engagement at an intellectual level, knowing the state of the art at that point in time, right? If I talk to somebody and then said, I do programming in 8085 like this, right? Then I said, no, 8085 has gone long back before. Now, we have the ARM core new, which is coming up, which has a DSP core inside, and then, things like that. I'm not talking about my thing, but state of the art needs to be spoken, which means that on an ongoing basis, there is a need for faculty to kind of be state of the art. And of course, student engagement, right? This is no consulting is done by only by the faculty, right? Faculty engages two students, and then most of the work is done by them. This is a fact around the world, right? But the front face is faculty, back end is the student. So the best of students can work for you in the consultancy mode, but for that you need to be able to talk the language. Right? If you say no, I will ask my students to talk, then the game is lost. Then of course all of this could also lead to postgraduate course development, because you will get to know what is happening in the industry, etc. Automatically it will lead to course development, right? One thing I can tell you that, for example, in the Karnataka, at least the universities I know of, right, there are no EV courses today in post-graduation EV courses today in Karnataka today, right? Postgraduate MTech programs on electrification vehicles is not there. Right? World over, they started about 5 years ago. Right? Now, something to reflect. EV has come to India, but we have no courses. So which means that even as a certification courses are offered by 80,000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh, certification courses. So, something to think about. Then this consulting is also a lot of custom development. Again, I'm not blaming everything on the faculty. We in the industry have a what is called QSQT mentality. Kayamat se kayamat tak. Those of you who are from old, slightly gray hair, this is actually quarter se quarter. We have to report back right to the numbers, right? So our life is quarter se quarter. Right? It's also kayamat, by the way. Right? Quarter is also kayamat, which is danger. And we expect much quicker PDCA cycles. Plan, do, check, act, etc. We expect these days we do Scrum deliveries every 2 weeks. Customer we do delivery every 2 weeks. Right? So no customer is ready to wait for 6 months, 1 year for delivery. When we do for 2 weeks, if an academic comes back and then says, students are joining in the next year, so let me take a look at it, then that's the way world is, right? That's the way at least we talk. And finally, industry comes with show me a working concept kind of control. Right? Oh, a paper keeper theek hai, but show me a working mentality. I'm not saying good, bad, ugly, but this is the mentality, right? For majority of the people. And you have year long cycles, heavily depend on students, and then publication focus you have rather than product focus, etc. Somewhere we will have to bridge this gap in order to get into a consulting arena. What we can do, again, simulation is probably an area where you can work with, but you will have to say that I know the software for simulation. Mind you, a lot of these softwares are available at heavy discounts for education institutions. We want academia to have got quick knowledge about that software. Right? Can you do that? Or data generation, I talked about testing and test automation enabled, including AI. Right? If it can come from you, right? Nothing like it. These are a few ideas, but we can go further. I'll quickly go through, right? Maybe this one. A few more ideas. I think these have been spoken about, so I'll go quickly, right? Come to industry for talking, right? Every industry has their own internal training methods, right? For example, next one, Tech Kshetra, is our own internal training methodology for new technologies, right? Because we also can't survive unless you train constantly people. Right? But over the last 2 years, we have had 3 people coming from the academia to talk, mainly because we are ignorant of what they do, right? And wherever there is a connects during conferences, etc. I know this person is working on that. We invite them and talk, right? So I think that we can include more. You can also have an open day, for example, right? Open day like CFTRI does, like IIC does, for example, right? You can have an open day and invite all the industries to come and showcase saying that what you have done, including papers. So I am sure attendance will be an issue. You have to know. See, it is a chicken and egg story. If you don't do, people will say you have not done. If you do, then the attendance will be. It's a constant battle. One needs to go. Board of studies. I've been part of multiple board of studies. This happens 7 days, 10 days prior to signing off, and then you are generally expected to say yes, and then we'll move on. And whatever messages you have taken, no, sir, we will consider it for next year. Right? By the time 365 days are gone, I think there is a far need for far better way of looking at board exams. Right? If you're really, really wanting industry knowledge into this, you need to engage much more on things which are need so that you get a much uh, quicker cycle, right, of participation. Right? And this also helps in creating new electives, if not a complete course. Right? And of course, you can also ask industry Viva hours exams in your PG students. You can ask them now. Right? So they will, their questions will be far more valid. Of course, they will rag students also, right? But the faculty who is listening to those questions, there is a lot of value, right? So I would recommend right here. I have had the pleasure of doing it in this department here over the last 1 year, and then my colleagues are here. It's a wonderful experience. It's for sure for me. I hope that it is for them also, right? So these experiences can be taken further. Similar, whatever we do there, there's an ulta here saying that you can ask our people to come here, right? And then do guest lectures and then things. It will happen. If you invite 10 people, 2 people will come, right? Don't get disheartened by 8 people not coming. Feel happy about 2 people have come, right? So if you wear that hat, I think things will go further, right? I will only quickly in 2 minutes, ma'am, right? If you don't mind, cover what we do, Tech GM, right? Which we have been doing for the last 7 years now. It's an open competition for across all industry, all academia, and we collect problem statements across the world. And finally, there is a good prize money, almost 18 lakhs, right? People get, right? So you can see some pictures here. Our CEO, right, attends and then make sure that his presence is there during this, not only as a lip service, but as a real thing. In fact, this was founded by Dr. Panda, who was an academic before turned a CEO. So there is a lot of focus from an engineering perspective. You look at the numbers, number of registered institutes, students registered, and concepts received. So 31,000 people register, right, all over India. It's not a small number, right? And to look at all these 31,000 numbers with due diligence, to look at all of these and then finally announce a winner, right, it takes a lot of toll, lot of bandwidth, right, from all of us here, right? And then all of us within the company, that's a investments we are doing. Just take a sneak peek on what kind of things what we have done. You look at all of these. Second one, hydraulic pneumatic leakage detection, industry problem, right? Uh, uh, Smart tool integration with IoT, right? Tools like all kinds of handhold tools, what we do, can you integrate IoT with that, for example, right? Easy to attach IoT crane box. You have seen crane, right? So somebody developed a retrofit, IoT box, for example, right? Biocomposites of algae, right? This is a chemical uh, bioengineering kind of work, right? So like these are the kind of problem statements, and we diligently go to our customers globally and then tell them, you see, we have this. They're happy about it because you get new ideas, and we go back to them saying that potential. We have this final takes place. Last time it took place in Mysore, and this time also it is likely to take place in Mysore. I will invite some of you here. So please come and then witness what the students have done across. One fantastic thing which I have seen in this exhibitions of where is the faculty's involvement. The students are participating, but the faculty is far more enthusiastic to show the demo, like to us. I mean, these people are gray-haired people, 50, 55-year-old people, but they travel with the team, they show it, and then the kind of enthusiasm is actually very very nice to see, right? So, and here are some products which are done. You can see that autonomous warehouse robo. You know that Amazon, for example, is totally responsible. That's a biocomposite material, and this is a bioplastic for packaging, right? A biodegradable is a major issue, so we have thrown that as a problem. Non-invasive glucometer, right? You can imagine, right? And electromechanical charging for TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. So these are products which have come from as a problem statement from our customers, and we have given it to them. The kind of enthusiasm which you have to see to believe, right? People, irrespective of where they have come from, right? There are people from an electronics background do wonderful work in mechanics, and the other way, right? So it doesn't matter where you have come from. Finally, you deliver this. And what we do, we have a portal online, so where you register. There is a virtual technical presentation and a POC demonstration. All of this is over a 9-month period, right? So it's not a hackathon kind of a thing where 24 by 7 people do something, have pizza, have masti, demonstrate something good, but come back. It's not like that. There are multiple rounds of intervention, and then something good comes out of it. Right? So I think it's been a wonderful way to engage with the academia. and a lot of faculty get engaged here. So I thought I'll take this opportunity to share it. With that, I will stop here. And if any Q&A now, or we can take it during the panel discussion as well. I hope I'm okay on time. Okay. Q&A is later. Oh, awesome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Seeking the blessings of Swamiji, I take this opportunity to thank the Mr. Shashidhar Dongre sir. Indeed, it's a great session. On behalf of JSS Science and Technology University, we thank for presenting the insights of industry collaboration, how academia strengthens the industry utilization for the research opportunities in the academy. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Senazans, Department of Information Science and Engineering. Today, I welcome you all to the panel discussion on the topic New Landscape of Global Innovation and Research Collaboration. Today, I welcome the panel members, Dr. Shashidhar Dongre, Global Head, Embedded Engineering, Validation, Technology Services. Sir was the initial team to work in L&T Mysore and is working in L&T Mysore from 1986 in various capacities. I welcome sir. So next we have the panel member Dr. Bharat Kumar Hegde, co-founder and CEO of Automotive Private Limited. Sir has Automotive is one of the top 20 medtech companies in Asia Pacific region, and it is one of the global top 10 team working on social innovation. Some of the products developed by Automotive include iRobo, Apascan, Idea, and ID. I welcome you, sir. So next we have Mr. V. Tej Kumar, Vice President, Operations, Product Development and Quality at Toyota Bosai, South India Private Limited. So some of the awards received by Mr. Tej Kumar include Best Poly Technical Award and Global Quality Demonstration Leader Safety Systems. Next, we have Dr. Jai Asindi. He is the Executive Director at the Center for Study of Science, Technology and Policy. Sir is one of the member of IEEE and is the current adjunct associate professor in the Department of Engineering and Policy Making. So next we have Dr. Prasad Chandeliya BR, General Manager, Corporate Head, ARD and Quality Control. Sir has an experience of around 23 years with leading pharmaceutical companies and is currently heading a team size of 400 scientists, and he has received Bio-Contribute Award from Kiran Mazumdar. I welcome sir. So this session is moderated by Dr. Vanishree Arun, the Department of Information Science, and the session is chaired by Dr. Sidram, Professor, Department of Electronics and Electricals and Electronics, and the session is co-chaired by Dr. Mallikarjuna Swami MS, Department of E&I. So now I hand over the session to the session chair. Thank you.
giving me an opportunity to chair the session. It is a privilege to welcome you all to a conversation that explores dynamic and ever-evolving terrain of new landscape of global innovation and research collaborations. In today's interconnected world, where borders are increasingly porous and knowledge knows no boundaries, the landscape of innovation and research collaborations is undergoing a profound transformation. This discussion aims to unravel the nonsense of this new landscape, marked by global interdependence, cross-disciplinary partnerships, and the harnessing of diverse perspectives for impactful research. Our esteemed panelists, representing spectrum of expertise and experiences, will share insights into the emerging trends, challenges, and opportunities within the global innovation and research ecosystem. We will delve into the strategies and best practices that foster successful collaborations across borders, cultures, and industries. Thank you, and let's embark on this exploration of new landscape of global innovation and research collaborations. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. I welcome you all once again. So before we dive into the heart of, am I audible? Before we dive into the heart of our discussion on the new landscape of global innovation and research collaborations, I'd like to paint a picture of the present, like, showcasing the real-time impact of cross-border collaborations in today's world. So just recently in the realm of the cutting-edge technology and innovation, we witnessed a remarkable feat. Picture this, a team of, say, researchers scattered across continents, connected not only by the marvels of digital technology, but by a shared commitment to address the global challenge, right? In response to the pressing issue of climate change, this diverse group, say, engineers from Silicon Valley, scientists from research institutions in Europe, and entrepreneurs from emerging markets in Asia, converged virtually. So the virtual workspace became a melting point of ideas, transcending global boundaries as they navigated time zones and also cultural nuances seamlessly. So the collaboration wasn't just about exchanging data, right? It was a fusion of perspectives and a convergence of experiences. So the outcome was a groundbreaking innovation in sustainable energy solutions that could potentially reshape the future. So, Mr. Shashidhar Dongre, can you take the question, or you want some rest? Okay, let's, yeah. Okay, okay, we turn to Mr. Bharat Kumar Hegde. With your extensive background in developing innovative healthcare products and leading engineering teams, you've been at the forefront of pushing boundaries. So considering your involvement in both research and product development on a global scale, can you share a specific instance where international collaboration played a pivotal role in advancing your project at Autoyos?
Yeah.
Right? And how did this collaboration contribute to the success of innovation products such as Robo, Tapascan, Idea, and ID?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Nancy for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share the eminent personals across different industries. To talk about our kind of experience in cross-border collaboration in the research. So one of the incidents where we got the problem statement. It was a medical, like a healthcare institute, from which we got the problem statement. So they identified a problem for reducing the dependency on a skilled resource or a dedicated infrastructure in delivering eye care for the masses. So that was the problem statement, and they came up with these problem statement, and they were looking for some collaboration. They were looking for an academic collaborator from India and an industry partner. So that was the moment where we had just started AutoUse, and we were very excited about this proposal. And the thing that helped us a lot, so it was a Singapore-based hospital, which was part of this collaborative project. So in terms of the support or in terms of the importance, um, for this specific healthcare project through the hospital, the Singapore-based hospital, was the kind of underlying clinical aspects which are core to delivering the required care. So without especially in healthcare, it is very important. That's what I have realized, that it is very important to engage with clinicians or the academicians who are into that research domain. So unless we do that, we start with them, so we will be having our own assumptions, and it will be just a hypothesis. So unless we get it validated from those people who are experts in their own field with respect to the clinical aspect or with respect to the academic research domain, so it is it would be very difficult for us to get on to, we can come up with some technology or some concept or some algorithm, but at the end it has to work in the field. So that field knowledge, that is what was very crucial, and that is what helped us a lot in coming up with an effective solution. So in this way, and also with respect to the different perspective of the geography. So it's a Singapore and we are in India. So these different perspectives helped us to develop a solution which would be globally acceptable, or at least in Asia Pacific region it is acceptable, because you can have a different set of data. Like for example, if you take an image of the eye, right? So with a Asian population, you can have something different. The Caucasian population, it can be something different. So when you are doing a study or doing a development activity between India and Singapore, so you are covering most of the kind of Asia Pacific region. So in that sense, it will be relevant for that population at least, instead of just limiting it to our Indian population. So these kind of collaboration of the activities has helped us in that manner, and I see that it's very crucial, and it's very important to have such collaboration.
Share the challenges you faced.
Yeah. So in terms of the challenges, the kind of requirement that we get from the user end or the customer, in any case, so they will have their own set of parameters, and it is our job to convert that into a product requirement. Sorry, people are much experienced in these aspects, I'm sure. So for us, because we just jumped into this startup world or the entrepreneurship just out of college or the studies. So for us, it was difficult at the beginning to understand and completely convert those user requirement into the product specifications. And with time, with few iterations, we were able to kind of convert it. Still, we had challenges when it came to the field deployment and testing. So some of the things we could not anticipate. So those were that we had to address. And ultimately, through this collaborative support only, we were able to overcome that.
Thank you. Yeah, now building upon our insightful discussions, I'm turning to my good old friend, Mr. Tej Kumar. Your extensive experience in operations, product development, and quality management positions you at the nexus of efficiency and excellence. I'd like to ask you about your perspectives on the role of global collaboration in enhancing operational efficiency and maintaining high product quality standards at Toyota Gusari?
Thank you, Dr. Vanishri. And first of all, I appreciate this forum being created to bring the industry and I'm privileged to be part of this forum. I'm happy to be in my college. Satisfaction for me. Coming back to the organization, I represent the Toyota Group company in Bidadi, and we are present globally in around 68 locations in 18 countries, manufacturing all the Toyota interiors and exterior design development, etc. Coming to the question of product quality and efficiency, yes, probably today Toyota stands number one in terms of the volumes, probably because of the quality aspect. And we have a theme called as QDR, quality, durability, and reliability. I think that's where we focus and all our, the research and developments happen. Coming to the efficiency, I think when the world is talking about new technology and all these things, I would just give you a small example. But where I am presently working very much focused is on the low cost automation. So people are talking about automation and digitalization, IoT, all these things are happening. Parallelly, we are working on something called as there's a concept in Japanese word called karakuri. Okay, so it looks a bit unfamiliar word, but it is a concept of automation without using any power and any other technology. So all our plants and including my plant, we are using this technology using pure physics. This is pure physics, and what we have played during our childhood days in our playground is what brought into the shop floor. By this, we are able to improve our efficiency by 20%, investments cut down, manpower elimination wherever required. So these things are being driven across the globe, and per se, when it comes to this concept, recently I was in Thailand and we are working with Thailand. Now they are in fact, next week I am going to discuss that we shall be leading. India is going to lead in low cost automation for our to showcase as a model. So whereas other country people are going to come to India now, and we are going to showcase our best practices in terms of bringing the improvements in efficiency with not using so much hi-fi technology, without using any high digitalization. But let me tell you, we also have hobos. I think today the world is talking not just about robots, hobos. Hobos are collaborative robots which can work in parallel to the any human beings. You can just work sitting next to each other and just like any other individual. So we are integrating low cost automation with hobos so that our efficiency factor is going up. Likewise, so there is a global collaboration happening between us in India and also the other countries. Now we are starting with Southeast Asian countries, and probably this could also spread to North America where they have also started. So likewise, we are focusing on simple concepts to bring efficiency improvement with a low cost investment or no cost investment. I can say LCA and NCA. Low cost automation or no cost automation. So that's how I can just give one example related to how we are working with a global affiliates and trying to improve the efficiency within our operations in India as of today.
Thank you, Tej. And we are glad to have you here, as you are glad to come here. And to Mr. Ajay SMD, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. As the Executive Director of C-STEP, your role involves overseeing a think tank deeply engaged in policy research. So in the context of our discussion, I'm curious about how C-STEP approaches international collaborations to contribute to shaping science and technology policies. Could you shed some light on the strategies and approaches C-STEP employs in fostering global collaborations that influence policy decisions? And moreover, can you share a specific example of a successful collaboration that has had a notable impact on shaping science and technology policies on a scale?
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me, and it's always good to be at a university talking about a part of society that's rarely talked about, which is civil society. We are neither in academia, we are not in industry, we are somewhere in middle, but we play a very important role in regulating both these sides. That said, given my background, I'm closer to academia because of my background. I've spent years teaching, and now as a think tank, we are also spending a lot of time with academia. So most of our collaborations are with academic institutions worldwide. Not so much industry, but more academic institutions, though we do have some industry collaborations that I'll talk to you about. Now, as our think tank, we work on the areas of clean energy, clean air, and sustainable secure futures. It talks about a very vast areas of topic, which is where we come to realize that the disciplinary boundaries are artificial. The world doesn't care that you're a mechanical or a civil or an electrical engineer. It says, solve this clean energy problem for me. And it doesn't matter what you come from, as Mr. Dongre just talked about. He just said that if people from electronics are now solving problems in others. So what does it really mean? It means that you need to just have a critical thinking mindset and be able to think about it from a perspective of problem solving. Now let's come to the issue of policy problems. Policy problems again have a entire spectrum of things. Just like in industry you have, or research, you have technology readiness levels. That's 1 through 9, where 1 is very core research. People say doing work in quantum physics. And then on the other end of the spectrum, actually applying it to your satellites and looking at how it would change. Similarly, in policy, you have political scientists that can talk about theory of political theory or talking about how policy making should be done or what framework should be. To the other end of the spectrum, where you have lawyers actually coming up with what the rules should be when certain things happen. So when it comes to think tanks, you can have the entire spectrum. We as a think tank operate somewhere in the middle. What we like to do is take certain ideas and try to implement it for things that will make impact on the ground. So from that, I will talk about 2 examples. First example is what we are doing in the area of clean air for all. To make sure that we have clean air for all, there are 3 things that we will need to do. First one is to be able to measure, right? Because you need to be able to build a data source to establish baselines, understand what is happening in the first place. So measurement is not easy. It's not that instruments are well known. They are very expensive instruments. They're very cheap instruments. How do you decide which instruments to be used? And if I have to tell the government which instruments to place, every time you have new professors writing papers saying, I have built a new instrument or I have done something new, you should use this. But then how does that play in the ecosystem? That's a very important part. Now, everyone is talking about using satellite measurements. But then have we validated that? What is the process to making sure that that can be used? And then, of course, tomorrow in a court of law, if someone says that, no, I was not guilty, can that be used? So the first part is on measurement. The second part is, of course, modeling. Trying to understand that if I know certain people are burning things, let's say people are talking about Punjab, Haryana, people burning crops, how much impact is that going to have on the air quality in a city like Delhi or Noida, or even if you go downstream towards Lucknow? Now, for that, you need to do modeling. So that is another piece of work that we do. And then last, of course, is how do you communicate a lot of these deep academic or technical ideas to policymakers? At the end of the day, the person in the policymaker will say, tell me what I should do. Right? And you can't be saying that do this, but on the other hand, do that. Right? You have to have a very clear sense of how do you communicate. So where communication and coming up with a policy imperative becomes a place. So in many of the programs that we are working on, we are working with the University of California, Berkeley, University of Washington. We are also working with Google because we are doing a lot of mobile monitoring and research. So they are very interested in those kinds of things. And then locally, we've got colleges from IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, and across the board working with us on, this is a grand challenge. And if you ask me our impact, I will not be able to tell you anything for the next 10 years because that's the scale of this problem. I could solve the air quality problem in maybe your house by telling you to put in a filter. But if I was to try and solve the problem for the entire country or the 120 non-attainment cities that we talk about today, it's going to take us some time. It took California 20 years to fix the air quality problem. We're talking about a rich country that had all the resources. Our hope is that we will be able to do it in 10 years because we will be able to commit. So I think there is a notion that globally we have to engage with whoever has the expertise in these areas and try to use the best of breed. I don't think we need to follow the same path as the other entities or the other countries in the world. We can find our own path and maybe reach the destination, which is clean air for all, much sooner.
Thank you. And we have Mr. Prasad Chandeliya by Mr. Ravi Krishna and Ravi Krishna K, who is the Senior Manager Quality Control for Anthem Biosciences. So it's for Mr. Prasad. Your role as the General Manager, Corporate Head, ARD and QC at Anthem Biosciences Private Limited involves overseeing a wide variety of responsibilities related to quality control, regulatory affairs and compliance. I'm keen to hear your insights on how Anthem Biosciences approaches international collaborations while ensuring stringent quality standards and regulatory compliance. And also, could you elaborate on how your role involves co-coordinating for customer and regulatory audits, especially those involving FDA, TGA, and PMDA?
Thank you. Thank you for providing opportunity. First of all, I'm a kind of a wide entry here. We at Anthem Bioscience, we are a contract research organization. We do a lot of drug substance, early starting material, and intermediate for global clients. So we are kind of an end-to-end solution from starting preclinical studies to manufacturing API. So it's thanks to Genesis that we have a wide panel with the different verticals. It's nice to hear everybody's perspective. I was talking to Jai that time, so I was so fascinated with the kind of work he is doing. So I'll just split my discussion into 3 points here. First, I will tell what Anthem we do, and next, I take the clue from Tej Kumar sir, where he told about low cost work. What we we have a low cost research requirement, as you had in your work, and I'll take some clue out of Shashidhar sir, where he told about the core research and the context, where he nicely elaborated and generalized. Although he's coming from one vertical, he's generalized very well into all the verticals, relevant to all verticals. So we'll start with the Anthem Bioscience, what we do. So we have a preclinical team which works for all your preclinical researchers. So basically, as Shashidhar sir told, the core, the silver spoon with our clients. Always there is a US or abroad. So the core science from India is rare, although we get some core scientific research coming up from India, but most of the core work happens abroad. And we get the context work. So the preclinical is first phase of drug development, then we go into the small scale and proof of concepts, and later we go to the large scale manufacturing. Anthem Bioscience provides that, and this is where all the regulatory comes to picture. From US to Japanese regulator or Australian regulator. So we have a pool of people made, trained for certain aspects of the regulatory, and this is where academia can help us in the future, where they can have a core competency of regulatory affairs and quality. So that is what missing now. You have the academia have all technical, chemistry, everything, but the one which is missing is the regulatory. That should be done as a bachelor degree instead of even the master. Some part of it should be a bachelor in the bachelor degree. And just talk about the low cost research. This is a global requirement now. So what's happening here is why India is lagging behind China for that matter. So for a given product, India is costing way higher than China. Anyway, India is better than other part of the country, but other part of the world, but China is far ahead of us. The reason behind it, I'll just give you one example. So recently we had some stats-driven work done. There is one firm in China, we don't want to name any country, any company there, but they have around 5,000 scientists working under one roof and working for different kind of global projects. And what lacks in India is to have such a big pool of scientists to work on the context, so not on the code, still work on the context. So to have such a kind of people coming out of our colleges, universities, with the competency and work for the any renowned company. So that is where the universities need to buck up and have an industry matrix, scientists ready-made, so that we can build a bigger pool of scientists. They can work for this kind of pharmaceutical company. So if we have to compete with China, although we are almost 20 years behind them, to have such a competent scientists coming out of a university, so that our goal of matching China will be fulfilled. That's another one I want to point out.
Definitely will be fulfilling in the years to come. Our esteemed panel today brings together a wealth of knowledge spanning various industries, each contributing to the global landscape in their unique way. Again, building on the insightful discussions we've had, I would like to turn our focus on Mr. Jai again. Mr. Jai, given C-STEP's focus on addressing critical challenges through scientific research and policy interventions, I'm keen to delve into the role of international partnerships in driving innovation and policy reforms. We've been hearing about successful collaborations influencing policies at the global scale. So could you shed some light on how you perceive the significance of international partnerships in the context of C-STEP's work?
Yeah, so one of the things that we obviously have to be very careful about is that we have to be, as Mr. Dongre very nicely put it, right? The context is very important. We have to be very careful whether the core idea that we are taking is being taken as a core idea, or we are also taking the context with it. Because the concepts that are being discussed, especially in policy forums, are philosophical. Many of them are philosophical differences between how do we want to treat people, how do we want to treat populations, how do we think about people who are poor, who are rich. Because any technology has an impact on people. If I build a dam, I provide power to, let's say, Mysore, Bangalore, but what about the people that will be inundated by the water? So in terms of what are they? So every technology has an implication, and what we have to do as a society is try to minimize the kind of bad influences it has. So that said, when we talk about global collaboration, I think we have to be very careful that we are only taking the core idea, not the context. And that's where we have to make sure that our context is appropriately applied to that particular core context. Now, in the areas of some technologies, we have done actually particularly well. When we take digital technologies for a country as large as ours, doing things that we do in certain areas, the scale is only possible because we are able to take these digital technologies and then apply it at scale. But of course, even there are fundamental problems that you will face, and dealing with those boundary conditions is very important. So in the way we do some of the collaboration, so to start with, we also do a lot of work in energy modeling. And the Stockholm Energy Institute and the Indian Institute of International Studies in Vienna, they do a lot of this energy modeling. They've been doing a lot of that. In the beginning, we used to just take their models and try to apply it using our data. But now we have come to realize that there are limitations to that. And so now we are starting to build our own homegrown models with the hope that we will be able to put in place not just, so the context that was getting in with the concept is now being torn apart, and we are just taking the core concept and then adding our context to it, so that we are able to think about our future in a very different way than how, let's say, a Swedish society will think about it, or how a Austrian society will think about it, or American society will think about it. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the issues that we talk about are issues around aspirations and management of what people want. I think he brought up this thing that we need 5,000 scientists working under one roof. The problem is that we have this. I don't want to use terms, but we have this notion that if you're not working on core ideas, you're not doing research, which is incorrect. I think the idea that research is across the board, and to me, actually, I want to get rid of the word research. I would like to just put in critical thinking, right? Because that's what we need to solve problems that we need to have. We should stop differentiating between this type of research or that type of research, because all types of research are important. Core research, yes, it's important, but so is the aspect of applied research. So I think once you have that, when people go through college saying that, you know what, I will get a job at that place where I'm working on these great ideas because there are problems to be solved, then you will stop having people saying, oh, this is not core research, I don't want to do this. No, I think we should get out of that mentality. So these are mentality issues that we need to get out of, make sure that we think about it as critical problem solving, treat every subject as something that I want to learn, and it's going to be lifelong learning. I think they talked about it saying that industry needs to learn. So I think don't think that by the end of college that's the last exam you're going to take. In fact, when you get into industry, your exam is every day, right? Because you have to solve a problem every day, and if you don't solve it, you're not fit for that job, you need to get out. So I think that's an important lesson that one needs to learn through this particular, and that's where our collaboration also comes in. We work with global institutions, but we make sure that the context is very appropriately applied.
Thanks for sharing your perspective. Rapidly changing landscape of the automotive industry, collaboration and are recognized as key drivers. So, considering his prominent role in this sector, could you shed light on the strategies employed by your organization in fostering global partnerships for management? And moreover, are there challenges unique to the automotive sector that you believe international collaborations can effectively address?
Thank you, Dr. Manishi. Coming to the automotive segment, I think you are seeing the market being flooded with so much of vehicles. People are talking about EV, and of course how Toyota has seen a big success of hybrid cars. I think probably some of you are using our products. I think you should be knowing our waiting period is 1.5 years right now. The Toyota Hi-Cross or so. So the technology is there and the products are available to the market, accepted to the market. But how all this happens? As Toyota was being part of the Toyota family, just to tell you, the blue LEDs, whatever you are seeing, is a patent of our company. And we are the only automotive company to get the Nobel Prize in 2013 for the blue LED. To that extent, the innovations are being taken care by our parent company. Apart from that type of automotive products, products such as related to the e-rubber we call, which is used in haptic applications for the medical industry, then we are also venturing into use of seaweed as fiber into the automotive applications. I don't know how many of you know Japanese love seaweed to eat. Now they also are using that to bring it into the automotive segment. Parallelly, how to use the natural fibers into the automotive segment. So these type of lot of innovations are happening across in collaboration with the University of Tokyo, University of Michigan, University of Missouri in the US, so on and so forth. Now coming to the context of the Indian scenario, I would just like to tell you, because Toyota in India started operations in 1999, so we are just 25 years old. Now the world is seeing towards India, and this is applicable to us also. So now everybody, even though we have got a very small percentage share in the market of Toyota business globally, now everybody looks at India as one of the prominent market, and every research and innovation aspects are being given due respect for the Indian operations. Toyota Bosai, my company, we just 2 months back, we started our North R&D Center called Toyota Gose India Technical Center in Manesar. The whole purpose is to develop the specific automotive products with new technologies. Probably some of the cars in India don't have the technologies. So one example I can give is if there is a pedestrian accident. Normally, what happens is the pedestrian falls onto the hood of the car and he gets hurt depending on whatever speed the vehicle is traveling. Now we want to reduce that impact. So when in case such an incident happens and the pedestrian hits the car or the car hits the pedestrian, the hood will open up to reduce the impact of the head injury. This all, all in microseconds. It will be all in microseconds, as fast as one tenth of a second. Okay, so the bonnet, we call in the language, the hood opens up, and so that by the time the pedestrian falls onto the bonnet, the impact is reduced. So such innovations have happened now, and the new Lexus has been the first model which has been put like that. So likewise, these type of new product innovations concerning the safety of the people, concerning the environment, where I talked about using of natural fibers, and concerning the future, we talked about carbon neutrality and circular economy. We are also in discussion on one of the leading automotive makers in India for developing of hydrogen fuel tanks for the clean energy. So we are just trying to work on some new joint venture activities. So likewise, lots such innovations and activities are being now focused towards India, and we are going to play a pivotal role in bringing all this to the Indian automotive market in the upcoming months. Is what I can say with a lot of pride, because now India is going to be the driver of economy across the globe. So that's
Definitely. Yeah, and it's amazing to know the various technologies used in the automotive industry. Sir, I know you've been talking since morning. One last question. We'll wind up the session with this last one. So it's just a small question. In this dynamic landscape, how do you see the role of strategic partnerships and collaborations in navigating the new frontier of global innovation?
Thanks. One of the things about this partnership, not only with academia, but also with other companies, I would put these, from our company perspective, I would put these into broadly 3 buckets. One is, what do we do with academia? We said that we cannot look at only India as a Asian partnership, etc. We have to look at globally. So we said we will go to Coventry University. Now, if you look at Coventry University, they're all surrounded by auto companies in UK, and they've got a fantastic department looking at EV, battery, etc., etc. And much. So we have a relationship. We are also into manufacturing. So we went to Michigan University. Got a department which focuses on especially introducing new age smart manufacturing countries. So we went there. So what I'm saying is that the shortlisting of such and then going to them and engaging with them is a process which you need to go through. And then some of them will fall through because they are not interested. We are interested, but they are not interested. Right? So we have to land here. But behind this, there will be a lot of work, right, which needs to be done. I think I gave you an example of one thing which did not. So these are the, so we are taking now a global approach in terms of consciously we should not be seen as a India focused company only from an academic perspective. The other perspective is that it's a fact that startup companies come with a lot more newer technologies than slightly grown up companies. Right? When I say grown up company, anybody beyond 5,000 people is a grown up company. And the ecosystem does not work because you have lots of organizational structures and policies, red tape, and all of that. All the colors of tape are available. So hence we need to engage with startups as well. So we have an active engagement with both startups in India, right, via NASCOM, in Israel, in Ireland, and in Bay Area. See, these are the 4 hotspots, right, for startups. Right? That's what we do. A third thing, what we do is with the established companies, right, whom we have to collaborate. Because when you go to market, you may not have all the things what you have to go to market, right? You have to go with maybe tools, right? Or you don't have a capability of some kind. So you go to them and then your thing becomes better. So we also engage with third-party companies, right, to be able to do that. So all of these, right, needs a sustained practice. And we have different departments within the company who look at it constantly. Not all of them succeed, but then every 3 months or so, there is a governing body which looks at all of these and then takes stock. What you're doing, what you're not doing, is it successful, etc. Right? And especially there are multiple verticals. Right? What is good for medical is not good for auto, is not good for, let's say, some other vertical. So hence we need to take a vertical focus as well as a little horizontal kind of a focus as well. So we have multiple such things being done. Each of them is enjoyable and heartbreaking sometimes.
We understand that. So your perspective, I thank everybody, every panelist here, and your perspectives have added tremendous depth to our exploration of the new landscape of global innovation and research collaborations. And the session is open for questions. If anybody has any question, you can ask questions to the panelists. I hand over to the chair.
Very good afternoon, and that was an excellent take on the new landscape that is changing the global perspective. I have one question as a member from the academia, to Dr. Jay. What policy matters do you think that should be in place for us to be successful in the collaborations, especially when we are talking about the new landscape?
Are you talking about policies within your institution, or are you talking about policies outside of your institution?
Policies that can encourage collaboration. Either it can be with respect to academia, or it can be with respect to something that can facilitate collaboration.
So I'll take a very contrarian view here, because I don't think policies drive behavior, incentives drive behavior. So if there is an incentive for you to collaborate, you will collaborate. I don't think policy is going to make a difference. So, coming from the policy world, I am the first person to say, don't think about policy, think about the incentive structure that is in place. And what is the structure? So today, your incentive is to publish. Right? So your incentive now will be like, who do I collaborate with so that I have more publications? But if the incentive in your university or your academia is to say, build more grants, you will go to Mr. Dongre and say, let us do some projects together. But if your incentive is to now think about patents, then you might actually collaborate with an R&D institution where they are producing a lot of patents. So I think incentives will drive. Policies, I feel today, are there for collaboration. There are universities that are collaborating. There are universities that are not collaborating. There are reasons why, let's say, for example, why do the top 90 ranks at the JEE go to IIT Bombay when they don't go to the other institutions, which are just as good? Why does that happen? It's just an incentive structure. I don't think it's to do with policy. So I think policy is not the issue here. It's about the incentive. And I think that's my contrarian view on it.
Sir, very good afternoon to all. It was nice to hear vivid answers from you all. So thanks for that. So I just want to ask you about these global collaborations or industry institute collaborations from my perspective. So basically, we understand that universities are meant for teaching and research. So that's how we go. We do all kinds of research and we generate the research material, and many times we said that it will be dumped there, and if they want, they use or not. On the other side, industry absorbs this research from various sources and they start developing solutions. Fine. Basically, our universities, they want to teach, and they want to teach from the basics. Right. So at some stage, we want to join in such a way that to develop the products, there is some kind of strategy that need to be in place such that it need to be accommodate all that pressures of development. pressures of research is different, pressures of development is different, and there are a lot of verticals. So I look these are three different angles. So just tell me, it's to the whole of the panel, just tell me how these vivid forces can collaborate in a new industry setup, teaching the basics at the same time taking it to the development. Thank you.
Maybe I'll address. I think there are examples where it is successfully done, right? And it's up to the faculty to kind of distribute the time available, right, between the three things, what you said, right? And not everybody is publication oriented, if I use the word, right? Some people are wants to see something working as well amongst the faculty. So, for example, the example of TNET in IIT Chennai, for example, is a great example, right? Now, you know, our own JC alumni, right, in Navakana, for example, has set up another company. Right? He teaches, he does research, there's another company as well. So these things are possible to be done by looking at examples, what they have done. What I'm saying, there is a question of priorities, right? If you set up a product development company around you, and then I'm sure there are central government issues you lots of grants today. In fact, just I want to tell you that in Michigan University, the why we started working, because there was a NFS grant, right, available for implementation of new age manufacturing. Right? They said we know what to implement, but we need an implementation partner. Right? So they came with ideas, and then we were supposed to be implementation partner. Right? So these kind of collaborations to address a grant from the government, mind you, this is the American government grant. Even such things are possible, especially with this new government wanting to this one, etc. But even these grants, even to apply for these grants, you need a joint working together, right? Because product development needs a little methodology, and then a lot of things to come, etc. Maybe that is a partnership angle as well, right? So there are multiple things I think we can do. We have a lot more distance to cover there, and which vertical to talk about. Is a choice again the faculty should make, right? Because again I said you need a multi-year kind of a lookout. Right? You can't develop a product in 3 months time and then go after another product. That will not work, right? So you immediately have a version 1.0 or version 0.5 coming up in the 9 months, and then version 1.0 coming up and later, etc. Right? And unless you have that tenacity and will to do a long-term research, some product development, I think that is needed, sir. If I may.
I'll just add a couple of points to what the professor said. We have heard it in the morning, like faculty should go in that. I mean, they have to go to industry, all those things. Yes, I 100% agree with that. At the same time, I also look from the industry perspective. See, moment the graduates come out of the university, and how many of the graduates go back to their colleges? Just an open question. Hardly 2% of the students don't even look at the colleges. They could be in a very good position, they could be in a big place, or whatever it is. But it's a notion in which we are living that, okay, universities are the place where we take a certificate and pass out and find out a niche job. That's it. And as sir, you said universities, we as academic people are focusing on basics. Yes, that's the foundation. But we have to come, industry has to come out of this notion saying that, okay, we need somebody to come to our end, and we need a good engineer, but we don't walk to the academy. Academy says that people are not coming to us, and faculty or the academy doesn't move towards the industry. I mean, nobody is taking the first step, and probably this is one thing which is really appreciable what's happening today. I should really appreciate JSS University to bring this particular aspect. This is a platform where we can have an open-ended sharing of thoughts to drive some activities in the days to come. So it's all about how each one of us take one step forward. That's the thing which makes a difference. And then we can talk about whether it's a research vertical or the development vertical. And I was so happy when Dr. was talking about the activities, what they're doing. So it's very much required for every one of us to pitch in and contribute towards collaborating with each other in a more effective way, so that we can really bring some value to the society in which we are living in. This my words.
I got slightly different questions in context to India's story towards the next 15 years of journey, right from the policy point of view, competition to the China, and also internal own research. By hearing out all of you, by is that most of the research is happening to cater to the external world, which is by and large coming from the countries. Looking at the current transformation in India, actually things are getting built up. Research is not enough for fundamental needs of most of the companies in India. That's a challenge for the majority of the academics looking at where do the research support can come, maybe a project comes from domestic needs point of view rather than the international needs point of view. It means that all the research happens only in IITs and IITs and everything, or do we see in coming days, including where the medical fields are really picking up fast, the emphasis from the organization in terms of funding that research activities through academic. Where do we stand? What do we see next? Yes, policy, maybe China, or maybe.
I will start first. Later, I think can add. So, I understand that we are far behind on the course. Right now, you can choose any. For example, as Dongrisla told, the context work is not bad, right? So there's a huge chunk of work to be done there. On the core research, industry has a responsibility to come back to the university and give them that technology. I think we hold that responsibility, which we are missing. Somehow the latest technology doesn't come to academics. And I think there is a collective efforts required from all the fields that they should come back to the university and pass on that information so that that can be built from there. So as you rightly said, the core science activity has to come from the, that should pass on to our generation. So we lack that. So probably this is our responsibility to do it. Probably this kind of meetings can help eventually the companies come back to academics and pass on that technology, may help us in the future. I think I'll pass on to Sandhu.
I think things have changed drastically in the last 15, 20 years. See, if you look at, of course, I come from a services industry globally, etc., right? But then there are lots of companies doing work for India. Right? And one other thing, almost all the global companies have a footprint in Bangalore and Hyderabad, right, today. They also have to develop. There is a third thing that what GE started is that you do frugal engineering here and then take it elsewhere. Right? So all these three things are adding a lot to what could be done here in India. Could be for Indian markets, but also global markets. Right? For your information, Cisco, for example, in Bangalore, creates products from ground up and responsibilities with Cisco Bangalore. Right? Qualcomm has produced multiple chipsets. Intel has a division where some chipsets are given to only Indian development centers. Right? I'm sure, like he spoke about, right? Many things are coming to India. Just for your information, all the startups, right? Sometime back, about 10 years back, you had to have a startup development center in the Bay Area. Right? And then you can do the context work in India. But today, all the VCs who are funding startups, they want requirements to be collected there, but it's okay for all the development to take place. You get it? There is no need of any development center in Bay Area. Right? Only requirements take place because they don't have still confidence of Indians converting to system requirements into software or product. They don't have confidence. We have still a long way to go there. But from other points of view, I think we have come a long way. Now, for academia, we need to recognize this and then go there. Right? I would welcome you to take a look at the research report by Zeno. In this, Zeno does a lot of work in this area to find out the difference between what is the gap, etc. From a product engineering perspective. So, I suggest you take a look at it there, and then I can help you connect with you.
Good evening to all. It was a nice platform to hear you from all that. So innovations across the world is necessary, and having and residing in academia, we are having few set of the barriers where primarily we face it. Suppose we want to establish a collaboration with an organization for a simple task, many times we get back or we lag back. So can you just let us know that what are the primary determinant factors that could be considered or to be followed at this academia level to establish a collaborations with any of the simple organizations or any organization? Primary factors.
Pardon me if I am very blunt. First and foremost, most of the colleges, in fact, our company has signed MoUs with more than 7-8 colleges and universities. I think it starts with a big bang and then it's a forgotten matter. So, what is the purpose of MoU? I mean, just taking an example, we are talking about MoU and then we can talk about research and collaboration. I'm not generalizing it, okay? There exceptions are there, but generally, when you look at the overall scenario, first is the MoUs are to be focused on what purpose? Is it only for giving project work or internships? Similarly, when you are talking about research, industry is going to spend some time, their resources, it could be their manpower, their investment in terms of the infrastructure, and also the time. So everything looks at a payback, you know. So when you are jointly working with some universities, so it is like, okay, you are spending something which could also be helpful for the company, at the same time helpful for the university. So first and foremost thing is that the collaboration, it should not be on the paper. The universities who are collaborating with the industry should have the urge to do a regular follow-up, like what Dr. Jay was talking about. It's a day-to-day warfare for us. It's not like, you can't even talk about weeks and months. You have to deliver the results on a day-to-day basis. So when you do an MOU, so does the industry and institute have the urge to work together? And from academic point of view, how can we really make that MOU a successful one? Similarly, how can we make the researcher? So that is the first and foremost thing, the interest and the objective of the research and development. Second thing is that since for various reasons, I know because I'm in the board of studies of about 7-8 engineering colleges, I know the different challenges what the faculty and the staff people face. But that's the way today's situation is. That cannot be a reason for us to stop the progress of the university or the people themselves. So how can we come out of that and face the challenges? And we have to come out of that type of a situation by making some internal policy decisions of that university in terms of the way they have to manage the research. Can it be a specially focused approach towards research activities or any development activities? And third point is the interest between the faculty in terms of understanding the new technologies. Many new technologies the industry can provide. The students and the faculty both needs to work continuously on a longer period of time to understand the technology so that they can really deliver to the required events or the milestones or the whatever time frame they have got. So it all starts with what is the end result we are looking at. So it is only for the website we are putting an MOU or a research and development. I think it doesn't work. It's applicable to industry as well. Even we can also put in website. We have got collaborations with 8 universities, but what are we achieving out of it? Nothing. So I think we primarily need to focus on the way we give priority to research, be it be global or be it be domestic. We can do a lot. The knowledge power of the academic people is so much if it is brought into the industry sector, and similarly the experiences of industry sector, if it is brought in collaboration with the academy, I think there is no stopping for us. So it's only the mindset primarily. That's why I said I'm being blunt. It's a mindset situation. Can we walk out of the industry corporate office, and can the academic people walk out of the campus and meet with a common purpose? That's the only solution I see.
Just try to add one more because it's like, it should be a win-win situation for both academia and industry, right? So, what the best way to do is try to understand what industry requires. For example, if I'm the pharma guy and you come back to me and tell, okay, what you are doing, I can do it better and do the research and give you a better technology. For example, I have one running product for a long time, so I don't worry about it. It's a good bread and butter for me. I'll not worry about it. You take that and say, okay, I can make this better by doing research in my lab. So this is something, a value addition for me. So you come back and tell us. So this kind of projects will be plenty with the industry. So it's like, not to try to sync with industry, try to understand what they need and take it to your academics makes more sense sometimes.
On the same lines, so we, like every academic institute calls companies for the placement drive, right? So there can be something similar where you also ask for the problems, like MoU Conclave, there can be a problem statement conflict, where like there will be a much more detailed interaction between the faculty members and the representatives from the industry. And another point is, usually students will be there for the final year project or the internship. They'll be there for only like 6 months or maximum one year. Instead of that, it would be a better way to engage the students who are motivated from the second year onwards itself. So that the students in the second year, it can be a group of students from second, third, and fourth year. So that the fundamental or the basic tasks that can be handled by the students in the second year, and when they go to the next year, they'll be able to guide the students in their juniors. So this continuum will be maintained, so that the milestones with respect to any product development or coming up with a solution, and also that can be result in a lot of publications or patents. So all the objectives will be met. Even for the students, for the faculty, and for the industry. If the kind of research or the kind of task they take up, it is derived from the requirement from the industry. So there can be different more effective approaches with respect to using a specific technology or the algorithm, where that can result into these like publications or any other incentives for the institution.
Thank you so much. I think we'll wind up here. And I thank everybody here for being a part of this discussion. And I hope the discussions have impacted our faculty members, research scholars, and students as well. So I hand over the session to chair and co-chair, session in charge.
I would like to call upon the session chair to hand over a token of appreciation to Dr. Bharat Kumar Hegde. Also, sir, sir. Also, please hand over the token of appreciation to Mr. Tej Kumar. Now, I would like to call Dr. Mallikarjuna Swami to hand over the token of appreciation to Dr. Jai Asundi. So, now I would like to call Mallikarjuna Swami sir to hand a token of appreciation to Dr. Prasad Chandelier. Okay. Now I would like to call Dr. Vanishri Arun, the moderator, to hand over token of appreciation to Hari Krishna. I thank all the panel members and all the professors present here for the discussion. Now we will break up for the lunch and meet after the post-lunch session. Thank you.